All right, it is 6 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started tonight. I'd like to welcome everybody to the July workshop of the Canyon County Board of Education. We open every public meeting at this point now with public comment. The first 15 minutes is designated for that, 3 minutes per individual, and the comments and those times, those 3 minutes have to pertain to a current agenda item. We don't have anybody that has come in tonight to sign up for open comment. Did we miss anyone? Okay. So we will be moving ahead.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you sign up for,
There's a sign-in sheet.
like, but if you want to say something that's not on the agenda, how do you go ahead and do that? Who do you contact?
That would have to have something actually put on an agenda. And in order to get that placed on our agenda, you need to contact Ms. Patterson
Okay.
before the end of the month. For example, before July the 31st. Yeah, it'll be on the August meeting.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions about that? On Thursday night at our meeting, we will have the employee spotlight and the roll call. The first agenda item, of course, is to approve the July 13th agenda. Ladies, have anything to that or any changes? See that need to be made? No? The second item on the agenda will be the consent agenda. We'll have to approve the minutes of 2 meetings, last month's meeting and last month's special call meeting. And we also have an overnight and out-of-state trip, and that is the annual cross-country camp in Swanee. They have been running past 5 hours. They're getting in shape. Item number 3 is the financial report from the finance department. We did receive emails from Douglas, and he is here with us tonight. Mr. Jennings, do you have anything to add?
We're still the end of the year,
Sure.
and it's probably going to look a little bit better than we thought, because it's Esther, as I call her, was able to get additional funds here that she could use to reimburse us. So she's reimbursed us for all the counselors' expenses, and most of the nurses' salaries. So that's going to help. And of course, we haven't closed with the state yet. I think last week of the month, they're supposed to be with us. Get closed and get you some reports, maybe soon after that. But there's another item on the agenda about increasing the credit limit on our credit card. It's number 9.
Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes,
want
sir.
to explain that just a little bit.
You'd like to go ahead and cover that? Want to go ahead and do that now? Okay, let's go ahead and move to number 9.
If, with ESSER coming along, our credit limit on our credit card is just $4,000. And with so many people or businesses wanting to be paid by credit card nowadays, I called the credit card company and said, what do we do to increase our limit? If I can call about increasing mine at home, if everything's lined up just right, they say, okay, how much you need? Okay, you got it. Well, no, we have to jump through these hoops, and it's in that letter that was attached. And so we'll need to get that done and sent in to them. Hopefully they'll give us an increase, but it has caused us a little bit of a problem for not having a high enough limit on it.
So that will increase the limit, and all of us have to sign.
That's what they asked us to do, so I want to explain that just a little bit.
You guys have any questions for him concerning
I can explain it now.
Yeah.
I didn't understand
Yep.
that. Thank you.
that? Great, thank you so much, Douglas. I appreciate it. All right, we are going to go to item number 4, which is an update from Gregor Smee, our architect. This will only happen tonight at the workshop, and I believe he is live and ready to talk to us. Hi, Gregor, how are you? Oh, Gregor, we cannot hear you. You are muted.
There we go. Better?
Yeah, there it is. Thank you.
Yeah, it looks like the room is a little empty tonight.
I think it may be because it's summer.
That's probably
I
true.
think that's it.
Okay. Well, we received pay application number 12. I'm gonna pull that up just so I can give you the numbers off of that. They, same construction should be, between 1 to 2 weeks away from completing. They were supposed to be mid-July, so they should be getting very close. Their last pay request, left, just shy of $300,000 still to bill. And that's the way we like to see them finish. We don't like anybody getting ahead of their pay requests, and so we've had Greg out each month checking on the work, and he made a pretty detailed punch list of the things that need to be corrected. Nothing on there was very substantial. They still had handrails to put up, and of course the last thing they'll do is the final bit of paving and striping on the road, because they don't want it to get messed up. They're removing all other heavy equipment, and really should be wrapping it all up here in the next week or so. Do we have a date yet for any kind of a grand opening?
We are working on that. We've exchanged emails today with Emily and Annie, the principals of both Cannon Middle and Cannon Elementary, and with Miss Melanie. And we'll be getting that, we hope we'll have a date Thursday night. For the
Okay.
grand opening.
That'll be great. We'd, Greg and I would love to come and be part of that. Are there any questions as far as anything that seems out of the ordinary or unanswered or unfinished? As I said, Greg made a fairly thorough punch list, but nothing stood out to me to be a major problem. It was all pretty small stuff.
I don't have anything else.
No.
Nope. Melanie, do you have anything?
It's looking great.
Okay, well, they are, as I said, they knew that some of the things that they would finish in the next 2 weeks weren't done on May 30th, and their pay application only goes through May 30th. And that's one of the reasons why there's $150,000 of actual contract left, and then you're holding $150,000 of retainage. So both of those together means that when the project is absolutely finished, you'll release the last 300. But that's the whole point of the retainage, is that nobody gets close to the end and then walks away. So we're holding that money to make sure that it is absolutely done, and then we'll release the retainage. But I think we're in good shape.
Thank you so very much. I think that's great.
All right.
After this gets complete, we won't know what to do when we don't have your monthly workshop report. You'll just have to tune in to say hi. That's what.
Well, I will be glad to join you and say hi. We are really excited. It was a far more difficult site than we ever thought it would be. And as you know, getting the utilities in the ground, moving the road really hard. But I think the building looks great. It looks like, it matches the rest of the building well. And I know you all need the space, terribly. So I'm glad to see it come in on time. I didn't know if they could do it the way the weather has been all year and the amount of rock that they were into, but I'm really excited. Sane should feel good about the fact that they got this in on time.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. All right. Item number 5 on tonight's agenda is the ESSER report. And that is from Ms. Alexander.
I tried to give you a pretty comprehensive summary of each of the grants. ESSER 2 did end, or was set to end June 30th. Apparently, some districts have had difficulty spending their ESSER $2, so there is a 3-month carryover window. And after that was released, and Ms. Andrea, when checking in to claim that maximum amount of indirect costs that it allowed us to put into the plan, we don't think that we're going to be able to claim the full amount. She's on vacation this week, so I've got to follow up with her. But I was okay with that because we are it just means a little extra work for me, and I will have to bring that back to you all in August. I'm thinking there could be somewhere around $5,000 to $6,000. It has to do with the indirect cost that is allowed on contracted services. It appears that if you have a contracted service, like a contract that exceeds $100,000, you can claim 25% of that. If you have a contract that's 10,000 or less, you can do the 100% of the indirect cost on that. Well, we have, the ones that we had, they were like 12 and 14,000, because some were for occupational therapy, some were for speech therapy, and so forth. So she was reaching out to the fiscal consultant to determine if we were going to be able to take that or not. If not, we do have this 3-month carryover window, that's July 1 to September 30th, and I will get that money reallocated just to try to supplant something in GP, perhaps fuel, or something of that nature that we're able to utilize that money for. Or if you all have other suggestions, I will gladly bring that back as part of the plan in August. Did you have any other questions as far as ESSER 3? We do have one more year for those grant funds. One of the things that we will need to re-examine is the salary that was for the ESSER director and learning loss supervisor. I'm going to continue to fill those roles while also taking on Ms. Bonnie's former roles. So there will be that money to reallocate as well. Celebration for the TNL for grant, I had indicated we served 189 different students, but the way we had to report that to the state, they wanted to know how many students we had served in ELA and math for a 12-week window. And when we actually disaggregated the data to that degree, we actually served 365 students for 12-week periods. And the data is very positive that we saw in ELA, we saw an improvement in the percentage of students who scored on track. And so that was a huge celebration. So we decreased the number of students in that approaching category. And of course, we were only looking at students who did participate in the tutoring program for at least half a year. So I was very excited about that data. Of course, the planning grant ended as well on June 30th. There was a little bit of money left over in that particular grant that allowed me to be able to purchase pallets of paper to support the tutoring and the summer learning camps, but that actually provided paper for all K-8 students at all the schools. So I know the principals have been very appreciative of that. I don't think they had to purchase paper last year. So that was also a success. And the Tennessee Best for All grant, that was also a grant that we received based on participation in the TNL Core grant and us allocating at least 50% of our funds toward learning loss and mental health supports. We did supplant the salaries of 2 of the guidance counselors for this year, so that was one of the references that Mr. Jennings had made. But after all those salaries were paid, and we also put part of that towards the tutoring program, we still had enough money to purchase 3 AEDs for the athletic fields. So Nurse Leslie is over that project of getting those put into rotation and doing the training and upkeep for those. The ELC, if you'll recall, we did receive additional funds, and that's a very specific grant that was provided for us to be able to provide that on-demand COVID testing for all of our faculty, staff, and students. We were able to get a little over $90,000 more, but in consultation with Ms. Bonnie and the nurses and Ms. Melanie, we really focused on trying to get medical supplies that the nurses need, because there's really not state funds that come to really help us build those kinds of equipment and supplies. And also, we were able to build up the maintenance and custodial germicidals and things of that nature, because that is going to combat COVID-19 and other illnesses. So, got lots of stuff from it. Lots. Y'all have any other questions?
I do not, but I thank you for all your work. Just mentioned it as we can look at this, we appreciate it.
One other thing, I have to transition to my coordinated school health and attendance role. The Resilient School Communities Grant that Ms. Bonnie and Ms. Greta have been working on this past year, we got notification that we're eligible to apply for additional funds. It exceeds $150,000. Again, it's very specific in terms of what that can be spent on, so I will bring more information in the August workshop of the direction we're gonna go with that. I know we're gonna continue and expand the Capturing Kids' Hearts in the 2 schools that have not already been through that training. Is there anything else I needed to add to that, Ms. Bonnie?
No, we're gonna, the reason we got the money was because we chose to do the communities of practice and the trauma-informed training in our schools. And I want to commend Ms. Greta Bennett for her work, because through her work, it led the state to, they had a surplus of money, I guess, that other school districts didn't use. And so they sent us this additional funds. That's a gift. $150,000 is a gift. And so we're going to continue our work, probably looking at paying our teacher leaders that did most of the work, being able to pay them some extended contract money for doing that work this year. And again, it's very limited to what it can be spent on. So she'll be doing some webinars to try to figure out some other projects, what we're going to do for the remainder of that.
What was the grant called?
Resilient Schools and Community Grant.
Very much, that's wonderful. We're gonna take a peek at one other item out of order tonight, in case we have some additional questions that might need to be addressed. We can get the information back to us before we get adjourned tonight. We're gonna move to number 8 very quick, and that's gonna be the discussion concerning the Veterans Memorial Gym revised bid proposal. I'm gonna ask Ms. Sisson to talk to us about that a bit. You did have something in your packet. It was very lengthy. I know this because I printed it. Yeah, it was lengthy, so if you could give us a synopsis. that would be
Okay, so
great.
the original quote that he quoted was $58,200, I think, was the original quote. After he showed up, because I called him the night you guys went with him to do the whole roof, I called him on his phone and he was excited about doing it. He just said that at that time he would come back in order to get the supply list ready. He would come and personally measure it himself and do, everything. Well, when he comes back, he says the guys is mismeasured. It actually has 3 sheets of tin metal up there instead of 2. So it was off by a third of the roof. So then he immediately, and I forwarded you the straight email that he sent me, that he apologized, and I talked to him again today, and he said, it's my fault. If they need to, vent to me, I'm open to a vent, but he said, he said, I would have paid it, but he said, when you go in the hole, he said, if I would have broke even, that would have been one thing, but he said he would actually go in the hole to, stay with that price. So he did up it to the $68,900.
But that 68.9 is still within the insurance money that we were given to do
You
that.
got 74 for
Yeah.
the insurance, so you're still within your insurance claims, on that. And I also reached out to, Mr. Henderson, which is our insurance, guy today. And I was just asking him how much, when they gave us that, was that for a full roof, a half a roof, or whatever? And he was just like, that's been a while back, I'd have to go back and, research it. So he was like, if you're gonna be able to get the whole roof done for that price, you would be better off to do it. Because I just wondered if we did half of it, would we go back in to where we could get it covered again? And he's gonna look into it, but he said at that price, he said if I can do it, I'd just do the whole roof. But I said, okay. So anyway, he'll let me know something, if the insurance claim was just on half, or we just have to do half, then they'll start claiming it again, but they're not gonna, it's still under the, it's still under the threshold of what you've got. But now the next problem we've got is central financing is now wanting this bid out. They do not want us to take another quick run with this. They want us to follow the procedures. We didn't the last time because Mr. Curtis called it an emergency repair. We can still call it an emergency repair, but they said they would rather to stay out of audit trouble. They would rather for us to bid this out. So if you guys want to bid it out and be running the paper, I can run it for a week instead of 2 weeks. And then, we can put the specs on there. We know the measurements now and everything. And this guy even said, he said, if y'all want to bid it out, it's fine. He said, I can guarantee y'all I'm going to be the lowest person. He said, I'm not going to, do you like the other companies
He'll
did.
keep his hat in the mix
Oh, yeah.
without changing.
Yeah, he said, and I just told him it would have to be a sealed bid and everything, but he said he would be willing to bid it out too this time. So that's another decision you have to, make at that point.
So we would have the option to declare it emergency. That's the thought to do that. Or we can bid it.
He needs to honor. He gave us 30 days. We told him in 30 days, once approved, it was an open, public bid by law. He needs to honor it, or we can get a letter.
Honor what, the original?
The original. Like I said, they should have made sure before they gave us the pricing, should have double checked everything. It works for words, it's whole radius roof.
He definitely made a mistake, and he said, this is definitely on me for making a mistake and not being the one that come and measured it. Now, I don't know what, I've never got involved with this being something like a misquote. I don't know, I'd have to look for like leaders on that, on saying, okay, do we involve, an attorney on it, or, do we have any, we had not signed a contract. All we did was.
So it's still an open bid.
Right. Well, it wasn't a bid, it was a quote, because remember, we opted not to bid it out. We just let him quote on it. So it wasn't a bid. This time it would have to be a bid, that's what Ms. Hickman wants it. She wants it to be a bid this time, instead of the quote deal. So,
That 3,
you would have to,
suggest that at this point, because if we've gone this long, it's not an emergency, and
That's what I was thinking. It would not be an issue.
it's not being used. And that way, whatever comes through with those bids,
then you get,
then
then
they
it's a
have
contract.
to honor that.
Right, then it's a contract. But when we just went with a quote, then I don't think, I could be wrong, but I think that, it was just him coming and saying, this is what I'm quoting you. But a bid, he will have to stick to it.
And you're gonna get attorney fees and I just bid it out.
and can we also request whenever we open these up during the workshop that they're available in case there's any questions?
Yeah, well, now they will, like, when you
If
bid,
possible, if they can. at
The
least-
bid will happen with central finance.
Right, but when we're here, that way if we have more questions,
Right.
we're not going a whole lot of back
right,
and
Like
forth
we did
and
with
all that.
any bid, the people will send an email and request that they attend the workshop.
correct.
Some of them don't show up, but you remember.
But if they really want it, they'll be here.
Pest control.
But just so keep in mind when y'all vote on that Thursday night, if you guys want to do it, which I suggest that too, that's why I sent you the email. I felt uncomfortable after he did this. I was like, man, I'm uncomfortable with it. So I spoke with Ms. Hickman, and that's when she even said, she said, I think you need to bid it out. And I said, me too. I said, and it'll keep us out of audit trouble and them as well. So I think we need to do it, but are we gonna run it 1 week or 2 weeks in the in the cooler? It doesn't matter. 2 weeks is good with me. It hasn't leaked.
That's Diane, and
I think
go
we
with
need-
her.
Well, their normal procedure's 2 weeks.
I would do too.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I think if you do a week,
It
sometimes
doesn't give them
you don't
time.
get enough time.
No,
So I think you need to go
Just follow their process.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
The motion would be to
the bid. Yeah, that would have to be the motion, yeah. So put it back up for bidding in accordance with, since we're saying that, in accordance with what the finance department suggests. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. We will go back up to number 6, which is the supervisor report. We received 2 of those. We had the school safety update, and that is now coming from Ms. Alexander. Yes,
We do have one thing that I made a report of
Okay.
which she moved over to my job. And we received notification today that our public school security grant one-time allocation will be $72,061.15. $72,061.15 that has to be spent for safety. And we are in the process of writing the grant. Ms. Alexander and I will work on that and use our safety assessments on what the expenditures will be on. We'll get some input also from our principals as well. Also, we have posted the safety director, part-time safety director, and we have had several calls of interest in that position, and a couple of applications have come in. We will, I believe that closes on the 15th. We'll start the interview process later next week. And I've asked Ms. Black and Ms. Alexander to help with the interviews since safety is included in transportation. That's it.
very much. We also, anything else for safety? We also received the facilities report from the system. You guys have any questions for her? Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
We do have a few other supervisors here. Anybody have any questions for any of them?
Ms. Bonnie, did you speak about the some exemption bid? That, you know,
Not in the supervisor's
Okay.
report.
Item number 7 is to approve the IDEA, I hope I'm saying this right, ESEA budget, including all future amendments and addendum. That is from Ms. Kathy Mullins. There was a link to that in the board packet. She's not here tonight, but Ms. Bonnie, can you speak to that for any questions? Or Ms., I'm sorry.
She's here.
I am so fast on Kathy's name. I'm
That's
so
okay.
sorry.
She said that.
Thank you.
It's just our federal budget that we have, and we have to get that submitted. Our budget gets approved with the state back in the middle of June, which is kind of crazy that we have to have that budget approved, but this can get approved by you all after that. And also the future amendments, we have to go in sometimes and change money from line item to line item within our budget, and instead of coming every time that we have to do that, it's just, you're just voting to say, yes, we can go ahead and do those amendments as we need to do those. It doesn't affect the general purpose budget or anything like that. That's just for the budgets that we get through federal program.
Thank you. I'm very sorry. I'm not on my toes.
That's okay.
That moves us down to item number 10, and that is to approve policy number 5.106. That was tabled from the special call meeting on June the 27th. That was quite lengthy as well. That was in our board packet with the actual motion sheet that was written by Mr. Curtis, as well as everything.
Mr. Curtis contacted TSBA, and you got the email on that. He's added the language that we wanted to add. So we'll just ask for your approval of that policy. I do want to tell you that there were 2 policies that were left out of the packet, and I'm working on those, and we'll present those at the August agenda, even though you voted to approve those two policies because it was in the motion. When we went and sent these into TSBA, they sent us an email back and said, we have two policies that are missing. And I talked to Mr. Curtis, and he said it was just that he was trying to get everything done, and there was so many policies. And they were just right there together, and they sound very similar to some of the others. And so we've already worked on those. And one is the sick leave bank. Just added some language to it, and I'll be honest, I can't remember the other one, but I think it's something on leave. I'm not sure, but we'll get it submitted to you in August for approval.
Any questions about that policy? Item number 11 on tonight's agenda is the CTE and ISM update.
And Ms. Crystal is not able to be here. She is taking a trip with her family, well-deserved trip. She came in and spoke with me about part of the grant that had included her salary in the grant for the next 3 years. I wanted you to be aware of that, so that's money that we will be saving for the next 3 years of the grant. And in that document that she sent, if you'll go to the second page, next to the last paragraph, it talks about that, how that's going to be paid out, so that she will be getting 100% of her salary paid through the grant, but it has increased her to a 12-month position because of the nature of the grant. She indicated that a lot of districts did this in the grant, so they'd be able to do the work throughout the year. So from 11-month to 12-month, but the grant covers it. And then in year 2, it'll be paying 75%. We'll still be covered. We did the math. If we keep her salary line item the same in the GP budget, we'll be able to cover that 25%. And then in year 3, it's 50%. I did speak with her and tell her that at the end of 3 years, when this grant is done, then she would, if she wanted to keep that position as a 12-month position, she would need to come to the board during budget talks and request that, and she is aware of that. It's just another good news of saving some money.
Any questions concerning that, ladies? Feels a little odd not to say ladies. All right, that leaves us number 12, which is the approval of exceptional learning education department to enter into contracts with outside agencies. There any questions? Good.
Just to give, those are the agencies for occupational therapy, physical therapy, a student that may need to go to Rutherford Academy, just those envision that we don't have personnel here in the district, so just we have to contract out for those. I am excited this year for the first time since I've been here that we do have a teacher of the visually impaired that's going to be able to come be in our district for 10 to 15 hours a week, which is fantastic to serve some of those students in person instead of virtual, which is what we've had to do for the past 3 years because we couldn't get anybody. So I'm excited about that, to have someone in person to provide those services. And one more thing that I forgot to mention, Selena, was that there will be something for you all to sign for the approval of our budgets.
Yes, we have
Yeah,
it.
that's in the packet, okay. On Thursday night, and then we'll get it from Ms. Teresa, so we can get that up.
That when that motion's made, if it passes, then
They
they sign it immediately, and you show it.
So that's what the contract.
Have any questions? Item number 13 on tonight's agenda is the director's comments. You have anything tonight? Or you can-
I'll say that. I do want to say that we're working on a transfer request. We did, the board approved zoning changes, and we had several of those parents request transfer requests. We're looking at numbers. We're very, Lisa, you want to speak to it?
We're pretty even across the board, with what their kindergarten and second grades look like. It's about 40 in each school. It's gonna,
I just want you to know that I'm going to follow board policy on the request. We're going to look at numbers. We'll wait. I think it's so close that we're going to have to wait to the first day of registration. And then if there's not space, if there's space, we'll approve. If there's not, we'll have to do a lottery. It's just board policy, so.
we have some upset parents when we tell them that, so. But we're close.
We'll do our best. We'll do our best.
So we appreciate that. Item number 14 is chairman comments. We'll take that for the meeting as well. Number 15 is item adjournment. Anything else before we do that? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Mr. May.
You did get the email on that.